Hey guys, welcome back to the United Star. And the international break just got over, and I have Prasham with us to talk about what everyone's really excited is returning, which is Fantasy Premier League. So, what's your take, Prasham? Let's quickly get into, the captain's picks.
So Vishesh, I think this week is a little, it's going to be quite interesting, I feel. So there are a couple of things that I'm looking at. The first team I'm looking at is Tottenham Hotspur. I think the fact that they've got the likes of Harry Kane and Heung-min Son doing so well, I think both of them are potential captain choices. Both of them are potential captain choices. If you look at the expected points for this week, Harry Kane is number one, followed very closely by Heung-min Son. So it's anyone's shout as to which one of the two you can captain. Now the interesting thing here is that both are also very high on expected goals this season. If you look at the statistics, expected goals incredibly high and touches in the penalty box are equally high for both of them. So it's a very hard choice not only for people to captain, but which one of them you have to bring in if you don't have both. So I personally am going to go for Harry Kane because he's looked a little bit more sharper, I feel. And Heung-min Son's already got a hat trick and he's already been very highly scoring. And I feel that that large goal haul for Harry Kane is going to come. So I think I'm going to go for Harry Kane personally. But I think Son and Kane are equally good options for this week. My number two pick is Mohamed Salah against Everton. I know it's not the same Everton team that's been playing for the last few seasons, and the expected points for Salah are the third highest, but it's not something that you can directly go for because Everton look better. Having said that, I think the defense yet has gaping holes. I think Michael Keane is not that good. I know they've got Ben Godfrey from Norwich on deadline day, but I think Michael Keane, Jordan Pickford, these aren't very good players, and I think Salah will get a points haul. And remember, Liverpool lost the last game 7-2. So I think that it will be a big response from Liverpool against Everton, and Salah is my number two captain choice. Now, my number three captain choice is a little interesting again, and it again is a little far field. You could argue it's a little far field, but I'm going to go for Kevin De Bruyne against Arsenal. Now, the only doubt here is that he's picked up a knock. Now, if it yet seems that he might play the game. It seems that he's fit enough to play the game. But why I'm going for De Bruyne against Arsenal, there are two reasons. Historically, De Bruyne always does well against Arsenal. He's been a fantastic player against Arsenal. The second thing is that by the law of averages, Kevin De Bruyne has done absolutely nothing in FPL this season till now. So this might be the game where he gets the big double-digit points haul. And the third reason is that Man City lost the game to Leicester 5-2, and then they didn't have a response against Leeds. It was 1-1. So I think this could be a fairly open game. I'm not saying City is going to win or Arsenal is going to win. I think it can be a fairly open game because both teams are quite attacking in nature. So you can expect a scoreline of maybe even 3-2 in this game. And Kevin De Bruyne getting a double-digit haul would not surprise me at all. So these are my three captain's choices.
Yeah, I think I was slightly taken aback when you mentioned Kevin De Bruyne because of his injury, but otherwise, I think I agree with you when it comes to the likes of, Salah and Kane and Son. Probably you could go for you could go for DCL with the form that he's in right now. Maybe that could be an outside shout. But other than that, Prasham, just one of the last few topics, like what is your take on players to get in and players that go out? I mean, obviously, United players are something a lot of managers are removing from their side, given the way things are going.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what's your take?
So I think it's again an interesting week. There are two things here. I think if you don't have any Everton player that is James or DCL, then you must get at least one of them in. If you could even get both of them in. So I know a lot of managers are doing a wild card this week. So you could ideally get both James Rodriguez and Dominic Calvert-Lewin in because if you look at Everton's next fixtures, apart from Liverpool and then United, their fixtures till about 5th December are golden. So these two might be fantastic options to bring in. And if you think about it, James at the price of 7.8 is giving returns of a premium midfielder. So look at James Rodriguez not from a price point perspective, but from a really points returns perspective. He's doing what a De Bruyne and Salah has been doing consistently. And there is no sign as to why Everton should not perform well because DCL has continued his hot run of form even in the international break. He's got his first goal for England, so he'll only be more confident. So these are the two first players that I bring in. But again, it's a potential double transfer is again Kane and Son. I've already spoken about them in the captaincy bit. But Spurs are looking a very attacking team, especially on the counter. Now they have an incredible set of 4 to 5 fixtures without any hard game, and then they again from 7 November onwards, I think they run into a very tough run of fixtures. So if you're using your wild card, you can actually bring these two players in and maximize. Now some far field choices that I want to mention. Number one, I think would be Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson for 6.4. If you look at Newcastle, apart from the Brighton game which they lost 3-0 and he didn't do anything, the other three games, every time Newcastle have got a goal, Callum Wilson has scored it or he's assisted. He's been involved in every goal Newcastle have scored. So he is a great option to bring in, and I think he's very high on the form radar as well. And then, of course, the perennial sort of team that looks like they're here to stay is Leeds United. Now, Leeds United, I think Bamford is a great option for the price point. I think he's also delivering good returns. Another option is in defense, there's Ailing, and then there is Klitsch in midfield. You can look at any of these three options. Uh, what has really surprised me is Wolves' assets. I think Wolves are looking a very lackluster team, not performing really well. Jimenez has really dropped off on form. Adama Traore does not somehow bring the returns. Podence is on and off. So maybe you want to swap out Wolves' assets and bring in a Leicester City player. So I think Jamie Vardy, of course, is a great option there. Castagna in defense is a great option to bring in. I think these two are the Leicester options I'm looking at. And then finally, I want to round off by talking about Aston Villa. Aston Villa have suddenly hit this new vein of form, and it's not just the 7-2 against Liverpool, right? Aston Villa have been playing decent football this season all along. And Ollie Watkins is a really promising young striker. And then, of course, you've got the tried and trusted player in Jack Grealish. So both of these players are not very highly priced. And if Aston Villa continue to play the way they're playing, then again, these two options are a good bet to bring in your team. Finally, in defense, I want to say something controversial is that it might be time to move on from Trent Alexander-Arnold. It looks like Robertson is anyways looking more attacking, and if you're looking for attacking returns, there are players like Castagna, Ben Chilwell, even Serge Reguilon. If the way he's playing, it might be an option. So these options are probably more attacking as well because Arnold is not going that forward. Robertson is in fact going more forward, so even you can add him to the mix. And Liverpool have lost Allison, so Adrian is basically a hot mess, and they're going to concede a lot of goals. So yeah, Vishesh, I think that is what I have to say in terms of transfers.
So, guys, that's about it. What I found pretty hilarious is Manchester United wasn't mentioned even once in this full conversation, given the form.
Vishesh, I'll just round off by saying one thing. Manchester United, the problem is the price to perform this for the same price, you can get much better, more consistent players in. Now, Marcus Rashford is an option at 9.5, but then you can get a Son at 9, which is much cheaper, who's much more reliable. So that the only Man United player which actually might be interesting that you can keep an eye out on is Alex Telles. If he gets a good run of games in at 5.5, he's one of those other attacking options because he's been involved, I think, in 84 goals over his entire career, which is a lot for a defender. So I think it's that is the avenue you can explore. Because again, if you look at a Martial who's worth about 9.5, again, Danny Ings is much better at a lower price point, or you rather upgrade to a Harry Kane. So I think United players are in that middle price bracket where there are other players who are better performing than they are right.
So, guys, that's about it. That's what Prashant thinks about the coming FPL. You guys do know about our league, and we've been updating you all about that. But guys, that's about it. We'll see you next time. Do let us know who you think should be the captain and who you are transferring in and out in the comments below. Bye bye.
Thank you.